So thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll go ahead and get started here. So welcome to the Cloud Pen Testing Bootcamp. I am your instructor for this course, and there's my contact information. Feel free to connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn, or email me if you have any questions. This is kind of my background. I have my CISSP, my security certifications. That was one of the first ones I got. I actually have the NSA, the National Security Agency's InfoSec Assessment Methodology certification. I took that and passed that exam around the same time I was preparing for the CISSP. We had a CISSP study group, and the guy that hosted the study group had a consulting company, and he brought in this company to teach the InfoSec Assessment Methodology certification course. It was kind of interesting because this goes back, it's kind of the old school, kind of the beginnings of information security, because we studied like data classifications and security for even like file types, because when your file types go back to paper files before we ever had anything electronic, so some of those can be applied across different areas, and that's kind of where that course came from. It wasn't really super heavy on technology, more of the way you secure data, clean desk policies where you're putting any, sensitive data away when you leave for the day or leave for lunch and that sort of thing. But it was a really good course to learn. It was like a one-day workshop that we did that on a Saturday. So it kind of helped me prepare for the CISSP. And so I am OSCP certified. When I first started in pen testing in 2012, I need to learn how to hack. I had 6 years system administrator experience. And then from 2005 to 2012, I've been in security. And then from 2004 to 2012, security dedicated, and then application security from 2005 to 2012 when I started pen testing. So to kind of give you an idea of my background, to give you, a little more, reason I share my background is someone that's aspiring pen tester. I came from a sysadmin background. The sysadmin piece and the application security piece is really what helped me launch my career as a pen tester and give me the prerequisite knowledge that I needed, because you really need to understand the technology. And being a pen tester where you're doing mainly focused on networks, you need to understand networking and that sort of thing. You need to understand the operating systems from a sysadmin level. And so then also have the SANS GWAPT certification for web app pen testing. And I took that course in 2014. And interesting enough, when I first started pen testing, the first resources I used was offensive security to learn pen testing, to learn how to hack. I got hired as a pen tester, and I knew how to run vulnerability scanners, but I didn't know how to hack, and I needed to learn that skill. So I took the OSCP, and that's before I ever heard of any of the e-learn security content. My second year as a pen tester, it took me a little over a year to get my OSCP. And then my second year of pen testing, I got moved to a team that was doing all application pen testing. So I took eLearn Security's web app pen testing course and the mobile pen testing course. So that's where I got familiar with them. In hindsight, I really wished I would have known about eLearn Security before I got my OSCP. It would have made things a lot easier, because the now INE content, former eLearn Security stuff, goes in a little more depth. They're taking this stuff from background where you really, don't have to have the pen tester background, where something like OSCP you would. And so when I took the SANS GWAPT course in 2014, I was kind of disappointed because I learned more from the eLearn Security course. I did pick up some things from the SANS course, but really most of the things I learned was from the eLearn Security course. And the thing I liked about it is it was a little more detailed, and the SANS course is more of a pen testing, a web app pen testing course for infrastructure pen testers, because they really show you things that are helpful if you're doing a infrastructure pen test and you run across these vulnerabilities. They really don't teach you enough to be a dedicated web app pen tester, which the eLearn Security does. So that's kind of a little bit about my background. I've been in the industry a little over 23 years. In 2018, I started teaching at Dallas College. So I've been doing that for a little over 3 years. I've worked in doing web app pen tests, Wi-Fi pen tests, network pen tests. Spent the first 5 years of my pen testing career as a consultant. So if you ever get a chance to work in consulting, that's a really good way to learn really quick, because the opportunity there, the environments change per pen test. So it's not always the same environment. So you're constantly learning. But I got tired of the travel and got out of the consulting, which did make it feasible for me to teach. And so I started teaching at Dallas College. And so my focus started turning more towards education while I still do freelance work and some contracting on pen testing. My day job now since about September has been more towards the educational side. I joined I&E in January 12th of this year. And so that's more my goal. One of the things I've learned is over my career is everyone has their strengths. And I found out my strength is really more towards the mentoring side and teaching. While there's a lot of people in the industry that, may be better pen testers than me, I find that on the scale of people that are more helpful mentoring wise and teaching wise, that was kind of the niche for me. So that's kind of how I ended up here. So someone said, did you really have to wrestle with it? Yeah, someone making reference to that. Before my career started, I was a pro wrestler back in the day and actually wrestled a bear. So maybe that's probably where that reference comes from. So Brian Sullivan says, I've got every ELS cert sans the eCamp before I got my OSCP. That's cool. I think it's very helpful. I don't know. You ask anyone to start out with OSCP and then had to take a step back and then went and did like the e-learn security stuff. It was helpful. One of the descriptions I gave, I was actually, a customer of e-learn security. Of course, as I mentioned before, I ever came to work for e-learn security. But one of the things I described in one of my pen tester blueprint talks, which kind of forgot to mention, I'm the author of the pen tester blueprint. It's a book on becoming an ethical hacker or pen tester. So one of my talks actually was explaining to someone the difference that I thought between like the e-learn security versus the offensive security courses. And offensive security courses, I kind of said, if you're wanting to be a hacker, that is the course to take. But if you want to learn to pen test, the e-learn security content is the way to go. I have a former coworker, someone I referred to US Bank when I was working there, and he'd went through the OSCP certification. And when he started with us, he said, man, this is nothing like the OSCP. So there's some differences. I mean, the offensive security stuff is very hard, but our content is more, it's more beginner friendly, more educational. Some of their content is more, I shouldn't be getting off a tangent on that, but just kind of sharing my experience. I think with our stuff, you're going to learn, and, we're even, bringing on more content and trying to make it even a lower level entry for someone without the experience.